Stardew Valley is an impressively substantial farm simulation game with a cast of some pretty amazing characters, except Clint, that all have wonderfully fleshed out backstories. In fact, these townfolk's personalities seem so carefully crafted that I couldn't help but wonder exactly how much thought got put into making them, even bad ones like Clint. And when you've got birthdays on a calendar and unique personalities, I want to know if their zodiacs match up. So today we're going to be taking a look at how well each Bachelorette matches up with their star sign. I'm only doing some of the Bachelorettes in this video for time purposes, but if this does well, there could definitely be more in the future. And before anyone races down to the comments to spout on about how star signs are BS and yeah, this video's for fun. The characters in it also aren't real. It's all just pixels. And I'm not even a horoscope girly. I see star signs a lot like how I see tarot cards. Their value lies not in them being cold hard facts, but in what you take from them and how you apply that to your life. So save your angry typing finger strength. All that being said, you might have spotted one problem right off the bat. The in-game calendar does not match up with a real-world calendar. And yeah, that did make my job a lot harder. Thanks for noticing. But not impossible. The Stardew calendar is divided into the 4 seasons, and thankfully, those seasons match up with ours. However, when each real-world season starts depends on if you're looking at meteorological seasons or astrological seasons. Meteorological seasons are divided into 3 whole months based on the weather. In the Northern Hemisphere, spring starts March 1st, summer is June 1st, autumn is September 1st, and winter is December 1st. Astronomical seasons are based on the position of the Earth to the Sun, and in such, the exact start of each season shifts from year to year and is marked by solstices and equinoxes. But it makes all the sense in the world to me to use meteorological seasons because they have the same calendrical consistency as the in-game calendar. The in-game weather changes with the changing of the season, and because a farmer would likely have more use for a weather-based season system so that they would know what crops to plant when. And I just used calendrical in a sentence, so please leave a like. Great, we have our seasons. So the next problem is that there are 28 days in each one, which is hard to divide by 3 for the 3 months in each season. But when you consider that each month has a different number of days in it, it actually divides up pretty cleanly. You can see the months labeled here with the number of days in each one in parentheses. Admittedly, spring is the roughest, but the rest makes sense. March and May both have 31 days, so they get 9.5 spaces, while April has 30 days and gets 9 spaces. July and August get 9.5 days, where June gets 9. October gets 10 days, where the shorter September and November get 9, and the ratio for winter even works out since the much longer December and January get 10 days where the shortest month, February, gets 8. From there, we divide each month into roughly thirds. It's a lot, I know, you just have to trust that I poured a lot of time into this. And since these lines and text are about to be replaced, I'm gonna make each segment a slightly different color to keep them distinct. So from here, I just match up the dates to the real world zodiac dates, and bing bang boom, Stardew Valley zodiacs. Whew. If I didn't get that like for using calendrical in a sentence, can I get it now, please? So let's start with our resident school teacher and Cinderella stand-in, Penny. Penny, according to the calendar, would be a Virgo, but let's see if that adds up. Virgos are earth signs, so let's look at earth sign qualities first, and we'll see how she does fit the bill first and then move on to shakier ground. Earth signs are dependable and hardworking, foster everything slowly and delicately, and often believe that they have a responsibility to support those within their spheres. This definitely feels like Penny, who works hard cleaning, paying the bills, and taking care of the house for her mom, as well as taking great care to make sure that the children of the town have a good education and helping out residents where she can. Virgo earth signs in particular often fall victim to overburdening themselves, which definitely has Penny written all over it, as she has a hard time letting go of worrying about her mom, though she gets better at releasing herself from feeling like she has to take care of her as her character develops. Earth signs are also practical and realistic, which I would classify Penny as I think she's acutely aware of her situation, and even when she dreams big, it's for like house, just pretty practical, all things considered. One of the earth sign qualities I'm less convinced about is responding well to things that they can clearly touch and see. I have a hard time even understanding what this means. But while Penny definitely doesn't not appreciate tangible things, she seems to have an affinity for concepts, like she likes the escape of stories and making a difference and the importance of a good education. I don't know, this one's just weaker for me. Earth signs are also supposed to be attracted to other earth signs. And to figure this one out, I looked at Sam, since she'll dance with him at the flower festival if you're not courting her, and he's not an earth sign. But also, spoiler alert, none of the Bachelorettes' corresponding bachelors were the sign they were supposed to be compatible with, so it doesn't go that deep. Would've been cool though. But on to specifically Virgo traits. Service-oriented, check. Teacher, helps people. Researchers and pretty much A students, teacher, great. Doors working hard to make the end result of any pursuit just right. I would say so. She's been hard at work practicing a new recipe for a 6-heart event, and in her 14-heart event, she redecorates your room and comments on how she hand-stitched the quilt. So she clearly cares about working hard for a good end result. Even if the end result isn't necessarily that good, she tries. Bends themselves into knots to help and be of service to their nearest and dearest, definitely with her mom, but also there are secret notes you can find around the village, and most of them are from people who are writing about their own favorite things. But the one from Penny has 5 other people's favorite things and says she wants to get everyone something they will love, again proving how she'll go out of her way to make the one she loves happy. Organized and has a strong focus on keeping things aesthetic, she cares about keeping the trailer clean, and I don't know what's more focused on keeping things aesthetic than these wild themed rooms she decorates that look like they came straight out of Extreme Home Makeover. Humble? Definitely. She has a whole spiel about appreciating what she has. Patient? You gotta be if you're a teacher. Continually seeking knowledge? Yeah, she loves to learn. Outwardly perfect, but inwardly full of angst and turmoil, which they try to bottle up, also sounds pretty dang accurate to me. While she starts small with admissions like enjoying taking a break from reality by reading, the closer you get to Penny, the more you learn about how much she's conflicted about abandoning her mom and her dad leaving the family. So as much as she tries to keep it together and do what she can to protect her image in others' eyes, she's clearly struggling with her situation. And for the zodiac cherry on top, one of the ideal careers for Virgos listed is teaching. So she's on the right path. A lot of matches right there, but the qualities that are a little more are being health conscious, which maybe she doesn't drink, which you can tell from all the alcohol items being in her hated gift list, which also makes sense because her mother's an alcoholic. And she has lines about wanting you to eat wholesome and good food, though that doesn't necessarily equate to healthy food. Virgos are also supposed to be hard on themselves, and she does apologize a lot, but a lot of times she recognizes that her problems come from outside sources and doesn't really talk badly about herself. And then another quality I'm not sure about is lover of lists, spreadsheets, and blank journals. And like, yeah, she's a teacher, but she never really puts an emphasis on like writing in an organized way and enjoys taking the kids out to study outside for more of a practical or nature learning approach. The Virgo qualities that are amiss for me are being detail focused and a control freak, which I think gets disproven by her wanting to clean the trailer but not needing for it to be perfect, demonstrated by this book on the ground. It's harsh, but I gotta look at the details. And her allowing you to help her clean shows she's not a control freak in that regard either. Another is liking material indulgence, such as food, drink, sex, and shopping. She doesn't drink, isn't that great of a cook, and doesn't mention loving food, and sex and shopping don't exactly scream Penny. And caring about status is the last one, which again, I think Penny is totally fine and grateful for what they have and just appreciates being farther along than she started. I can already practically hear the zodiac head screaming, but Anna, she's a September Virgo. I know, and she's a Decan too Virgo as well. Yeah, I did my research. I'm getting there. Okay, I'm there. So each zodiac sign is divvied up into 3 decans depending on what date range you're born in. So every sign is ruled by a planet, right? Virgo's ruling planet, for instance, is Mercury. And the first decan of every sign doesn't have a sub-ruler, and therefore the people in Decan 1 are the most likely to demonstrate the purest form of their sign's traits. So Decan 1 Virgos are only ruled by Mercury and are therefore going to be the most Virgos that ever done Virgo. But the second and third decans have sub-ruling planets and thus have influence from that ruler/sign. For example, as I said, Penny is a Virgo ruled by Mercury, but because her birthday falls within September 2nd to the 11th, she is a Decan 2, the Capricorn decan, and thus sub-ruled by Saturn, which is Capricorn's ruler, and so supposedly she might also demonstrate some Capricorn traits. To anyone uninterested in star signs, that was probably just a bunch of white noise. But that's okay, because I'm just gonna tell you what those traits are. I just need to do my due diligence this time by explaining what on earth I'm talking about. But Penny actually fits the second decan pretty well. According to Stylecaster, second decan Virgos are hardworking, resilient, determined, and innovative, doing whatever it takes to reach their goals. And yeah, as we covered, Penny weathers a lot of storms and works hard to achieve a better life for herself. And a lot of times this pays off, either via you marrying her or through the community building her a new home. So all in all, I'd say Penny's pretty dang Virgo. I've also decided to assign everyone a meme related to their star sign, so this is Penny's Virgo meme. Wow, very good. Next up, we have every asexual's favorite, Maru. All jokes aside, we stan women in STEM, but boy, it really is a lot like living with a friend. A friend with not a lot of personality, if we're being honest. Which isn't her fault, but it does make her a little bit tough to categorize. But let's try. Maru falls under the zodiac sign of Cancer, which is a water sign. I keep wanting to say water type like a Pokemon. This is Maru. She's a water type. Traits that she has in common with water signs. She doesn't shy away from deep conversations and ideas, which we can especially see in her 10-heart scene when she builds a sentient robot named Marilda and discusses what constitutes a consciousness worthwhile of existence. This is the same game that you become a Bear's Secret maple syrup dealer in. It's all over the place. Water signs are also supposed to be sensitive, which I would say Maru is, both in the fact that she is sensitive to others' plights, again, see the Marilda situation, and in that quite a few of your dialogue options and scenes rub her the wrong way. Like a water sign, she forges close connections to her origins at home, living with her parents and clearly being super close to them. And even though she doesn't get on with her brother, she does want a connection with him because he is her brother. Tied into that, water signs value the act of care and cherish their given and chosen families. We see Maru bring up how she values community multiple times, and after you're married, she even says that she's glad she didn't give up her nursing job because it helps out the community. However, unlike water signs, she's not highly intuitive or perceptive. She can't tell something's weird when she comes back after a tense moment you have with her dad. She doesn't understand her brother at all. She can't tell if you like her or not, and she also isn't very nurturing like water signs are supposed to be. I'm kind of on the fence about that one because she's a nurse, so that's kind of inherently nurturing. But once you're married, she kind of does her own thing on the farm, which is fine. And she reads scientific data to figure out the best way to raise your kids, which is also fine. But I also think it implies that nurturing isn't intuitive to her. It's not like a core value. So on to just Cancer traits, she is compassionate and giving. She likes to give back to the community and is always trying to think of inventions that can help make your life easier. We see her protectiveness and loyalty with her tight-knit relationship with her dad especially, always worrying about him. She does appear to at least be a bit sentimental, wondering what Matilda's up to and recalling memories with her mom. As an inventor, she has a creative spirit, and since she's always trying to think of ways to optimize the farm and make life easier, I'd say she also ticks the box of prioritizing achieving a lasting sense of security. Since her main friends are her parents, you, and Penny, she seems to thrive in small groups and intimate relationships as far as socializing goes. And Cancers, having the sign of the crab, are known to go into their self-protective shells and require time away from others when frustrated, which matches up with how she chooses to walk away when she's upset, opting to forget the whole thing ever happened and see you another time instead. Ones I'm about are them being homebodies, because Maru's not a huge partier, but she doesn't seem to mind going to the events. She likes to go out and explore and look for minerals, and she goes out stargazing, so yeah, maybe. Another is that they never forget a grudge and can hate hard. And while Maru can get a little upset at your dialogue options, it's nothing compared to, say, Penny, where some of your bad dialogue choices can lead to you losing 1,500 friendship points as opposed to 50. There's someone who can hold a grudge. Finally, Cancers are secretive, which I guess she keeps liking you a secret, but that's more shyness than anything. And the only other thing is the robot she keeps downstairs that her dad doesn't know about, but even that wasn't really a secret, she just wanted you to see it first. Maru totally misses the mark on a lot of Cancer traits though. Again, Cancers are known to have an uncanny level of intuition and understand people really well. And there are lots of people in situations you can't seem to read. They're also supposed to be super cuddly, even to the point of being clingy. Maru looks around nervously before even giving you a peck on the cheek at 10 hearts. And even after you're married, she's not really lovey-dovey. Cancers are also supposed to exude flirtatiousness and sexiness, and I don't know about that. Unless I misread this moment. Cancers are also emotional, with their moods going all over the place. And while Maru has her moody days, I would hardly call her emotionally unstable. She's usually just chilling, doing her science thing. She's also not really funny. I can think of exactly one joke that she makes, and it kind of falls flat. And I'm not even sure it actually is a joke. And finally, Cancers are known to be great listeners. And I think Maru's kind of the opposite of this, actually. She's never had a heart-to-heart with her brother to try to listen and understand him. And often she presumes things about you and the farm, which you can see quite a bit of in her dialogue. So I'd say she's good at conversing, but she's usually talking about herself. Born between July 1st and 10th, she's a Decan 2 Cancer, which is the Scorpio Decan, who are known for having possessive, obsessive, dark, and brooding traits, being more introspective and leaning into their solitude more frequently, and being more ambitious and focused on achieving their desires. So X check. Honestly, I think Maru would probably fit a different star sign better, especially after looking at Cancer zodiac memes, because this was the best one I could find and the rest did not fit at all. So if you think you know which sign Maru fits into, please leave a comment, because Cancer can't be right. Now we have the artist, Leah, otherwise known as Penny with a wig. This is the same person. But A different personality and different star signs. So here we go. Leah is an Aquarius, which is an air sign. Air signs are known for being creative, free-spirited, and having non-conformist attitudes. Leah's whole thing is that she's a starving artist who moved out of the big city with all the sheeple and just wants to sculpt gnomes and forage for wild mushrooms, Mom. She also ticks the air sign boxes of being curious and open-minded, as her surroundings constantly make her want to try new things, and she is interested and generally respectful of people's perspectives and opinions. She even prefers that you don't bash her ex, since she can understand that their breakup was a result of different priorities. She's also clearly intellectual, especially regarding the art world, as you can witness firsthand in her 8 Heart event. However, there are a few air sign traits that Leah absolutely does not fit. One is that air signs are outgoing and social, and Leah is one of the most antisocial and introverted bachelorettes. She says on several occasions that she's not great with people and prefers to be friends with trees. Leah will cancel your lunch plans for an afternoon with a cedar, and that should hurt. Air signs also might seem cold and emotionless at first, but not Leah. She wears her heart on her sleeve right off the bat. Can you imagine, like, going to the bus stop and seeing someone you've run into there once or twice before, and as you're waiting for the bus, they lean over to you and say, "This morning I accidentally stepped on a bug. Sometimes I think it's impossible to live without destroying nature in some way." You'd be like, "Yeah, man." That's Leah. Finally, air signs are noted to be disciplined in the way they handle serious matters like money and love, and Leah makes it so super clear that she could care less about money and is pretty dang independent. Upon getting a divorce, a good portion of the Stardew women will say some variation of "don't talk to me" or something, but Leah actually says, "I've realized I'm happier by myself, so just leave me be." She's good. She also socks her ex when they're encroaching on her space, which is a little hypocritical, since if you punch them, she's like, "Oh, that was violent." But hey, still a strong, independent woman that will have many on their feet screaming mother. So some matches and misses for air signs, but what about purely Aquarius traits? The Aquarius traits that Leah's got going for her are that she's individualistic, eccentric, and quirky. She has no interest in being like everybody else, and actively chooses not to fulfill her ex's desire for her to live a quote-unquote normal life. Aquarians are also generally progressive and want the best for the planet. And Leah is not only generally progressive in her beliefs, but also has lines stressing the importance of respecting nature. She's clever, innovative, and original, which can all be seen in her art and how she talks about her art. She's also strong and self-sufficient. Remember when she punched that person? But seriously, I think she's totally fine on her own. And when you get engaged, she's even a little nervous, and I think that's because she was never Twitter-pated with thoughts of marriage. Traits where I'm like, maybe. Humanitarian? She does care about people, but I would argue that she cares about nature and earth much more than humanity. Skeptical? She does go along with whatever you suggest she do, but she does take the time to think about it. She doesn't fully trust her ex, but she doesn't question the Mr. K, who is the same initial as her ex, that keeps buying all her art. Aquarians are also said to gravitate to more platonic relationships than deeply intimate entanglements, and might even opt for non-traditional arrangements. Again, Leah's not super gung-ho about marriage, but she did want a farm life and had a dream of being with you since you moved here. She does seem like the type who could have also stayed happy at girlfriend status for like 10 years though, so kind of balances out. Aquarians love people, but absolutely need their own space and really rather prefer to do things solo. No to the first part, yes to the second part. Are assertive and confident in their own opinions, but can seem aloof or disinterested in those of others. She asks for other people's opinions all the time, but definitely has her own opinions as well. Unpredictable. Is Leah unpredictable? I mean, she likes art, she likes nature. She did punch her ex though, which was unexpected. How much more unpredictable can you get than getting mad at you for doing the exact same thing? For Mrs., I would say she's not analytical. She tends to go with her gut, and she moved out of the city without much of a plan aside from do art. She's not tech savvy and science minded. She doesn't even own a laptop unless you suggest she sells her art online. And while I admit she picks it up pretty quickly, I would still say Maru is someone I would describe as tech savvy and science minded much more than Leah. And then again, one of the big things with Aquarians are how social they are. And no. Leah's birthday makes it hard to tell whether she should fall under the second or third Aquarius decan, but I think she leans more towards the second one, since they're supposed to be great in group dynamics where they can sell, present, or host, and Leah seems to hold her own while hosting her art show. And while being capable of concocting brilliant, game-changing ideas and regaling everyone with them is a bit of a stretch, she does at the very least have unique and creative ideas. Ultimately, is Leah an Aquarius? I'm not sure. Because here's the thing. Everything says that Aquarians are supposed to be super social, but then when I went to look for memes, I found stuff like this. And don't get me wrong, these are her Aquarius memes. They're perfect. But so many times the memes do not match the descriptions at all, which is super confusing. I feel like I got book smart on zodiacs, but not street smart. What is she? Unfortunately, that's all the ladies I have time for in this video, but do let me know if you dug this in the comments. And also feel free to weigh in on what star signs you think these gals should be. I've got open ears. It's one of my Scorpio traits. I don't know if that's true. Also, before I head out, I stream on Twitch. So I don't really mention that often, but I do. And if you want to come hang out, come on over to twitch.tv/Goomana. On that note, I'll leave you with one of my favorite Stardew Valley clips from stream. Adios. Make me a lot of money. What are we collecting? Pickled green beans? Ugh. Ugh. I'll pickle fucking anything on my farm. I'm about to pickle my wife and kid. Like, it pays the bills.
Goomana is the wonder why she didn't come to play. Gaming vids that'll make you laugh and think and put them on replay. Intelligent, kind and funny, her community's #1. Stick around and kick your feet up. Goomana has just begun.